in Dzogchen, the basis and path arise as non-dual. What that means is that the path, even though we say, conventionally speaking, that the path and the result are different in Dzogchen. The reason for that, obviously, is because everybody has a basis, but not everybody's realized their own nature. Nevertheless, we say that the path, the path and the basis are non-dual because what is the path in Dzogchen? The path in Dzogchen, fundamentally speaking, is recognizing the nature of the basis. This is quite different than the paths of renunciation, that is Shravakayana, Pratyeka-Buddhayana, Common Mahayana, and it's also completely different than the paths of transformation, to Kriya Yoga up through Anu Yoga. And why? Why is this completely different? Because these, with the partial exception of Anu Yoga, these other paths take impure phenomenon of the aggregates and so on as being either something to reject or something to transform. Of course, the difference we know between the path of renunciation and the path of transformation is that in the path of renunciation, we reject sense objects and we reject sense pleasures. In the path of transformation, we take sense objects into the path of various methods of, eating yoga, washing yoga, sleeping yoga, rising yoga, creation stage, completion stage, and so on and so forth. And inside of the creation stage and the completion stage, of course, then we have various methods where we are sort of relating to sense objects as being pure deities and sense organs as having pure deities inside of them in terms of body mandalas and so on and so forth. But here the whole point is that we're taking sense objects as the path. We're taking impure sense objects in the path of transformation and trying to transform them into pure sense objects in order to eliminate our grasping to these impure sense objects. That is not the path of Dzogchen at all, on any level. We call this taking the result as the path, because the idea is, for example, in the Vajrapanjara Tantra, it says that the way to achieve Buddhahood is just to imagine that you are Buddha, to develop this sort of what we call divine pride, the pride of the deity. So, for example, if you're a practitioner of a Chenrezig, for example, then the idea is that you should always have this idea that your real nature is Chenrezig. And so you're sort of relating to yourself symbolically as if you are Avalokiteshvara, Chenrezig. You recite the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. You imagine that all sounds are the expression of Chenrezig's mantra, and you try to imagine that all of the appearances that you have are somehow the mandala of Chenrezig, and all of the thoughts that you have are the wisdom of Chenrezig. And in this way, you're trying to transform your body, speech, and mind, which are impure and a cause of samsara, into the body, speech, and mind of Chenrezig, which is pure, and so therefore the cause of nirvana. The Dzogchen's point of view is that it doesn't go beyond mind, and it's just a conceptual trick that you're using to try and take these impure phenomenon into the path as pure phenomenon. Dzogchen doesn't take impure phenomenon as the path at all. Basically speaking, Dzogchen takes the basis as the path. And what that means is the basis is explained to you, which we've gone through, talking about original purity, natural perfection, compassion, how we take these into the path in various different ways. And so now we're going to talk about the very first Dzogchen text that was taught to Vairochana and Legdrup, because these 6 Vajra verses really outline the whole path of Dzogchen teachings through the explanation of the basis.